I'm kind of kicking myself because I told you guys in my best of 2024 palettes that I would be ranking my December palettes. You guys, I used so many phenomenal palettes. This was so hard. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Aleisha Budget Beauty. My name is Aleisha. Here on my channel, I love all things affordable fashion, beauty, and fragrance. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, monthly palette rankings, roundups, all sorts of fun stuff. So that sounds good to you. Please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. All right, you guys, I'm filming on actual New Year's Eve right now. This is not what I'm wearing for New Year's Eve. We're doing a little family friends gathering. I'm gonna wear a dress, but I just thought it would be fun. I threw on the tie, the necklace tie. I don't know, I thought it'd be fun. So if you guys are seeing this thinking, she looks really festive, it's New Year's Eve, and Happy New Year to all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. All right, you guys, I used 16 palettes in the month of December. And yes, in that video of my top 25 palettes, I did not rank them because it was just, I just didn't want to put the stress on myself to do that. But I said, you know what, I'll rank my December palettes. Most of the time I rank them, sometimes I don't, but I told you guys I would. And this was really, really hard. Now the bottom one's not so hard, but once I get into like the top 10, there's some bangers. Okay, so let me go ahead and start with the very bottom though. And that would be the Wonder Beauty in Neutral eyeshadow palette. Now, I just recently scooch because I know I'm scooch this way. Yes, I'm popping in pictures of my looks. I forget that sometimes and I stand right in the middle, but looks should be over here. I got this in a BoxyCharm here recently, and I did say for now I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna stick to that for right now. This is not a terrible palette, but out of the ones that I used and out of most of my collection, this is kind of towards the bottom. I think that the mattes blend really well in this. I like the mattes better than the shimmers. The shimmers look a lot shinier than they are on the actual lid. So in the pan, they kind of have little sparkles of different colors that don't really show up on the lids. I still think that you get some nice looks out of this, but it's just kind of boring and so-so in formula. I do think sometimes we need palettes like that in our collection. So that's why for now I'm keeping it. Okay, at number 15, this is actually an excellent palette, but it's just all green. This is the Absinthe palette from BH Cosmetics. This is probably one of my favorite just green palettes that I own, but because it's not very versatile, I put it in the bottom. It's just one that I go to if I need a green, if I want to do a look where I actually combine this palette with another palette, then I'm like, ooh, green, Absinthe, I'll grab it. It's just trusty. The shimmers are nice in here. They're not very shifty or anything, but they do pack a good punch. I like that there's kind of a teal tone to a few of these too, along with some real verdant green shades. Of course, this is no longer available since BH is RIP. RIP. All right, next up we have the Bejeweled palette from Perfusion. Now, if you saw my top 25 palettes, this was an honorable mention at the end. I know I have this at the bottom of the ranking. It's really just because it's a 5-pan and some of the other ones I have are so good. But you guys, this is an excellent affordable palette. I love the shimmer in here. It is so pretty, you guys. It would actually be really gorgeous for this evening for a New Year's Eve look. It's very reflective, very, very pretty. It's a perfect inner corner pop. The mattes in here are a little bit softer, but it does create just kind of a soft, nice, romantic, sort of wintry, cool tone look. Really good quality for the price. Okay, next up, I actually really, really like this palette too. This is Judy Doll is the brand. It is a C Beauty brand. I got this off of YesStyle, I think for like $11, $12, something like that. The Cost Me palette, it's bonkers, okay? The embossings are bonkers. I'll try to remember to put a picture that I took before I started messing up the embossings over here. It's so random. There's like a ghost and this guy that kind of looks like Darth Vader. There's a cow. It's very, very strange, you guys, but I like this palette, and what I like about it, well, the shimmer is beautiful. There's only one true shimmer in here. It's another silver. I love a silver shimmer, I have to say. So it's this one right here, a little bit darker than that top one. And there are some little speckles of like light blue in there too of that shimmer. So it's got like a little bit of different interest in there. Actually, there's like pink, blue. I don't think it's gonna show up for you guys, but it's really, really pretty. The mattes are very soft. Actually, I have not used these two over here. That's another reason why it's ranked so low. If I haven't used the whole thing, I can't rank it higher. But this black is really pigmented. There are some little gold kind of sparkles in the black, but it's truly a matte with just a little overlay of sparkles. The rest are mattes, and they are very soft, but it gives this sort of cloudy, natural, buffed out looking look on the eyes, as if you really blended it to look sort of diffused and it really didn't take any effort. It looks like you tried a little harder than you did, but that you're going for a really soft and kind of demure look. I really have grown to love C Beauty. Fantastic. This thing is like a cheap palette. It kind of reminds me of a Too Faced palette in this tin packaging that's just so random. Like this, it's like a sad clown pumpkin, and this little guy kind of looks like a brain heart, and then Darth Vader Mary? I don't know. Very random, but I do really like it. Okay, next up we have the NABLA palette, or Secret palette by NABLA. I got this one back out because it had been so long. I really tried in November and December to be intentional about, all right, I did my duty with some PR palettes. Let's get out some other palettes that I've loved this year, or palettes that I had neglected over the past couple of years. So I've had this one a couple of years. Doesn't look like it, I know, because I have so many palettes, but I was reminded how much I really like this palette. I know this is one that was real hyped up about 3 years ago or so, and then I think a lot of people decluttered it. But I got it out because I thought, all right, I might declutter this if I don't love it. But you guys, this is really good. This shade, is it? Oh, this Play Hard is one of those kind of ahead of its time, those sort of crumbly topper shades. Look, there it is right there. That bright sort of green, gold, kind of goes silvery as well. You see that a lot in indie palettes now. NOMAD has them in their palettes, and it's in this NABLA palette from years ago. So I feel like they were ahead of their time there. That shade right there. And then we do have some really pretty shimmers in here. The mattes work great. So for now, I'm keeping this one. I think it's actually really good. Next up, we have the Sundown palette by Alter Ego. Really do like this palette. Of course, this is a Natasha Denona dupe, like a bunch of theirs are. This one, I think what I loved about this was just the tones of this. I do really like this Prism shade. It is kind of a shifty green to sort of magenta purple. I like the gold shimmers in here. They're not the most impactful shimmers, but just the tones of these, it's this real sunken sunsetty sort of look that I think is really, really flattering, really pretty. I found myself wanting to pull it back out again after I'd already tested it for PR, and it's just kind of a good go-to when I'm looking for those shades in particular. All right, another palette that was older, but I really wanted to pull it out and play with it was the Pretty in Pastels by GLAMINATRIX Cosmetics. I have grown to really like this palette. I liked it before, but this second time around, or not second, but this recent time around and pulling this out, I appreciated it even more. And I love that you can get some looks that you wouldn't necessarily think it comes from a palette called Pretty in Pastels. And that's by using these deeper shades here. If you kind of just stick to those deep shades and then you use the really pretty, light, sparkly, pastel-y shimmers, that contrast is really pretty and neat. There's just one of my favorite brands. It's a little Easter egg palette with a random row of darkness that I think is really fun. Kind of reminds me of the Blend Bunny Sickly Sweet palette, where you can you incorporate some deeper kind of grungy shades with your pastels. But they were first, I believe. I believe that one came before. I could be wrong. Maybe not. Someone tell me in the comments. All right, next we have another C Beauty palette. This is a CHEERYEP palette, and this is the Monologue palette. Number one, I love this packaging. It's so sleek and pretty, gorgeous. And then here is the palette inside, the shades. You guys, this is where beauty is going. I feel like it's the C Beauty route. I think if the word keeps getting out there, if more people try it, this is the new indie to me. You know, indie, just a small group of people knew about it and talked about it, small community. And then a lot of the more mainstream people started getting into it. And I think C Beauty is next because they just are so good with their formulas, with their color stories and affordability. And then just the packaging is so sleek, really beautiful palette, kind of earthy. It's not the most, you know, just like bam color story in the world, but it's so good. All right. I actually love this palette. It could be my number one, but because it is a 5-pan, I'm kind of putting it here, like upper middle of the pack. This is Haggard's Scepter Series Smoky 5-pan palette. And again, packaging moment. This sort of gothic packaging is so pretty. And then here we have this 5-pan. Now I know it's just a neutrally palette, but the quality in here is fantastic. I did a look with this in a different video, a New Year's Eve look video, and I mean, just blown away by the formula. I will give you a little warning. There's the shimmers. Oh gosh, so pretty. The little warning is that this is very pigmented. Like even this matte in other palettes would be kind of light and ashy. This one, it surprised me. Like, whoa, that's more pigmented than I expected. So this one's even more so. And then the black is very pigmented. And the good thing though is there's a little bit of kick up in it. That's a good thing. And it helps to blend it out. I really didn't get fallout from it either, which is crazy. And then just those shimmers, hello. I mean, you can tell I like me some metallic shimmers here, but fantastic palette, fantastic. All right, next up we have Frozen Kiss by Gourmande Girls. I had this in my top palettes and I really enjoy this palette. I know I have it at I think we're like number 6 or 7 here right now. It's just because of the next ones, but this one's fantastic. This one's very soft. It's not as bold. You can dip into the deeper mattes and deepen things up, but it's just a little bit softer of it. Sort of like this mid-tone kind of dusty pastel palette that I don't think I'll reach for it all the time, but it's unique to my collection, my large collection, and you have some gorgeous shimmers in here. And I just think it's really pretty. I think this will be pretty for spring too. I don't just see winter with this palette. Next up, we have the NOMAD Cosmetics New Zealand Stargazing palette. And this is one that I wanted to revisit because back whenever I did my looks with it, I kind of was like, not real sure what I wanted to do and I was like, I don't know what to do with this palette. And I went back and looked at those looks and I thought, girl, those looks were really good. Why don't you get it out again? So I did, and I did a couple looks with it in December and just loved it. I was like, oh, this is definitely one of my favorite NOMAD palettes now. I love that you have the duochromes in here. They're very sleek, slick, smooth. They don't get hard pan. I mean, that just swiped on my hand like butter, honestly. So here they are right here. Really beautiful. Grown to love this palette so much. Okay, let me see what number. Okay, we are at number 4. We're at number 4. Number 4 is going to be Poison Garden. and it could be number 1, too. I mean, this top like 10 is just incredible. But I wanted to pull this one back out again because it was one of my favorite ones of the year. I did a more subtle look with it for December. I didn't go as deep, but I liked it because I was in a hurry. I did a lot of kind of in a hurry looks in December. There's lots going on, you know, with the holidays and everything. And sometimes I just wanted to do 2 shades and that's it and be done. And you can get a really fun look with just 2 shades in here. I think that I used, I can't remember which 2 that I used. Maybe just these 2, this shimmer in this. I can't remember, but whatever it was really pretty, really easy and simple. Number 3 is going to be Wicked Widow Beauty, the Tales of Terror palette. And this one is definitely one of my faves of the year. I had it in the video, but Wicked Widow Beauty has one of my favorite formulas. I think she's great at her color stories. This one is just fall in a palette for sure. I did have it in last month as well, but we're at Thanksgiving, but I wanted to bring it out again this month and just kind of play with it a little bit more because even though I think I did 3 or 4 looks with it in November, it just was too yummy not to bust back out. So fantastic palette as well. At number 2, we are gonna have, you guys, I will cry. My number 1 just fell and I would have cried. Okay, at number 2, we have the Ascension palette by Davini Beauty. And I've raved about this palette. I've raved about the color story. I'm really excited. She has a new palette coming out that's like an eyelash palette too. I'm not sure exactly what she has up her sleeve. She's just so creative and thinks of all the little details. I know that the next palette has something to do with this palette as well. So I'm very excited. Fantastic formula, brilliant color story. Just every time I wear this, it's special. And number 1 that I would have been so sad if it busted is my beloved Crow palette from Wicked Widow Beauty. If you guys know, you know, this is my favorite palette. And I wore this on Christmas. I'm wearing it right now for New Year's Eve. This is just one I like to bring out for special occasions because I love it so much. I did a very simple, it really is 3 shades, but mainly I just used, no, I guess it's 4. I used Trivial Things, Iron Gates, and then Angels. And then I took just a little bit of Shelly right here, is this lighter shimmer just right here. This palette is, I posted my look, my Christmas look on my Instagram, and I said, even though I did not rank my 25 palettes of 2024, this would be my top 3, if not my number 1 palette out of all of my 2024 palettes. It is so good. It'll be a go-to for me forever. You couldn't pry this out of my cold dead hands. But that is it, you guys. Those are my 16 palettes I used in the month of December. We're in December. And I did rank them for you guys because I told you that I would, even though it's very, very hard for me. And I wish you guys a beautiful, wonderful New Year's. You guys are not seeing this on New Year's, but you're already in 2025. Let's make it the best. I wish you many, many blessings. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping. Bye.